Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. And this evening we have some British wrestling royalty on, and from what's Fiona talking about you. But before we introduce my guest today, it is always a pleasure for our NWA queen and resident ring announcer, timekeeper, inside the ropes, laggy, and wrestling chauffeur, Fiona. Good evening to you.
Hello again, Adam. I am back. I am becoming part of the furniture. This is awesome. I love it. Thank you for having me.
You are. I see you like once a week now.
I know, it's great.
Even by but mainly by camera. Anyway, but I did mention we got some British wrestling royalty, and we got two British wrestling royalties on this week. We got one today and one on Thursday. But today, this gentleman has just, about a year, nearly enough a year or so ago, he finished up on NXT, where he was a tag team champion. I'll get my words out. I've done a pod already this afternoon, so apologies if my voice goes or I get a bit...
You're all good.
He's been everywhere in the UK and Europe. He's won titles everywhere. In fact, I've got a bit of paper in front of me, which you probably can't see, but it's got a list of titles and it takes up the whole of the page. But ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great honour and pleasure to welcome to our show, Martin Stone. I would say good evening, but it's good afternoon for you.
For me, it is, yeah.
Great. Thanks so much for coming on, Martin. Really appreciate it. But before we get on to all things WWE, all things NXT, the British independent scene over here right now is probably the hottest it's been for many, many years. Come out of the pandemic and it's flying. I'm sure Fiona will back it up up there in Scotland. It has been flying. What is it like currently over there in the US?
The US scene right now is hot as fuck. It's, hey, we got these weekends here, we got these weekends there. Hey, come down. Like, it's independent wrestling is seriously hot right now all over the world. So there's a lot of places to work, and you don't have to be like, well, I've got to get signed to be able to make money. No, you don't. No, there are a lot of options out there right now. So to all the young listeners that are trying to break out, the three initials aren't the be all and the end all.
Exactly that. And we were actually just talking to Fiona off air. We're partnering with a British independent wrestling company to put on an event in July. We've just announced guys that's making his debut there, and he not long took on Chris Jericho in PWG.
Okay, yeah.
So it's always big. And I was going to ask you if you had any advice other than for these younger guys watching, and you've just kind of touched on one. Do you have any more?
So if you're a young guy breaking in, just make sure that you are basically fundamentally sound. Make sure that your basics are, you can't strive for perfection. So reach for the stars and you'll land in the trees. If you have that down, you can do anything you want to do after that. I hear a lot of guys that were like, my favorites going up were Liger and like Tiger Mask. And I'm like, they spent 4 years learning fundamentals of mat wrestling before they started, doing the rope running and dives and this and that. So just do that. Like, be the most complete wrestler you can be before you start to branch out and do, I'm going to try this and that and this, and just be amazing on your basics before you try and break out and
a specialist way to go. So like if you're going to be mat based, get your basics right, then concentrate on
yes. Like,
you're going to be a high flyer.
Like, you can't build a house unless it has a foundation.
Yes.
If you have a foundation, that house is going to stay there for years. Or, I've built a house, cement's not good, but whatever. 2 years it falls down. Fuck no. Ugh. No.
No, it's it. You beat it now on the head. Get your foundations right, and then you can work on the rest, and you can concentrate on then specializing in an area.
Yes.
Which, that being said, you've been a tag champion, you've been a singles champion. Is there a preference to you how you like to compete? Do you prefer to be a single or you prefer tag?
Singles.
All day long is your single.
Because then The reason why I say singles, that comes down to me taking ownership of myself. As a tag, it comes down to, well, maybe it's a tag, but hey, guess what? If my partner doesn't give a fuck, where does that leave me?
Yeah.
But I'm trying, so singles all day long, because then I can hold myself accountable.
I think also I hear that the tag's always about the hot tag, right? Generally, from we've had tag team guys on, and they say it's like basically you're telling this story, and it's the hot tag. Boom, you work towards the hot tag.
Yes and no. Depends on the crowd. So tag wrestling, I feel, I could be wrong, this is just my opinion, tag wrestling is Russian roulette. Maybe the crowd want to see the hot tag, but then what if the crowd want to see the cell? What if the crowd want to see the heat and they want to see the fake, like the baby face trying to like kick, scratch and claw to get that tag, like, and I'm sure people are going to hear this and go, well, Martin Stone's wrong, fuck him. And this is just my opinion. Wrestling is a subjective opinion.
Absolutely.
My opinion is it just comes down to work to your audience.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I've always been like a bigger fan of a singles rather than tag. I don't know if it's because,
of course, when
I was growing
but
up.
Here's the thing, like, does that mean that tag wrestling is inferior? Fuck no.
No.
If the tag wrestling story is told correctly, so this is where I go to the Briscoes and FTR.
Oh yes.
They only had 3 matches, but those 3 matches felt like you could literally have had 10 years of storytelling.
Yeah.
And those guys are way above what I did as a tag team wrestler. So I appreciate their art and their storytelling as to what they did. But just for me personally, give me if I'm a singles wrestler, if I'm the babyface, I can try and do the best I can to make that magic. So
yeah, exactly. Fee, what was your preference when you were growing up watching wrestling? Was you a tag or was you a single?
Singles.
I'm a tag girl. I like my tag. I mean, it's not that I don't like singles wrestling.
Like who?
What's that?
Like who?
Like who?
Like who? So growing up, for example, like I was a huge Rockers fan growing up when I was young.
Okay.
So, and it was the Rockers. I've told this story loads of times on this podcast. It was the Rockers that got me into WWE.
Yep.
I was little. So I've always had a kind of affinity with that sort of thing. The slightly more the kind of faster, kind of high flying sort of stuff. I still like the tag wrestling. I went out to the Crockett Cup last year because I really wanted to see a tag tournament like that. And I absolutely adored it. And it was the one and only time I got to see the Briscoes and I got to see them lift that trophy. And I think the final of that was the Briscoes and Harry Smith and Doug Williams. And that was incredible. So, and obviously Doug, you've worked with Doug, so you'll know, like, he's such a great technical wrestler. I really enjoyed what they did in the ring that night. So I love my tag team. I do love my singles, but I'm a big fan of tag team wrestling.
Yeah, no,
I think that. It also depends on where, like, what organization.
For me to step back as a fan and take myself out of the equation, FTR are the greatest tag team of this generation. Definitely. Because they encompass everything.
They do.
So
they absolutely do. I think from my point, I suppose growing up, and me and Fiona, and Martin, you've been in England, we really, apart from the independents in England, we only really had the one organization to watch for majority of the time until we got WCW, until we got that. And I think especially in the WWE, and down in NXT was slightly different. You said you had like FTR were down there for many, many years, and you had some of the other great tag teams that have come up recently. But I do think that they really kind of sometimes it was like a generator, like, we're not booking you as a single, we're not booking you as a single. What we're going to do,
We'll just throw you both together.
Yeah.
Yes,
and that's when I think tag teams.
That's what happened with me and Oni.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what happened with me and Oni.
Yeah.
The magic was the fact that it stuck to the wall. So it's
And it doesn't always. That's not always the case, though.
Nope.
No. You do get lucky. You do get lucky with some. I think like Cesaro and Sheamus was one of those times where it worked. You had two good
worked. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah,
it
was awesome.
It just worked, But yeah, it was really weird. I always felt as if it was always on a downward spiral for a while. And then you say the FTRs of this world, Briscoes, as you've already mentioned, really come in. But Martin, let's talk a bit about. We'll touch on NXT in a minute. I want to get that sorted.
Okay, please, yes.
You're currently on this what you call a redemption story. So obviously we will touch on NXT. But you were released from NXT 2022. Was it 21 or 22?
Yeah.
2022.
January of last year.
January of last year, and I believe the term budget cuts. Is that what was used, or was it something different for you? No, it was.
I just got cut.
You just got cut. Okay, they didn't give you okay.
Well, it was pretty much you're too old for TV. Be a coach. We're going to cut you because you are a Triple H guy.
Oh, so this was when Hunter was gone and Vince and okay, now it makes more sense.
So the day I got released was the day that William Regal got released.
And he went to AW and done cup, and then he's gone back because Hunter's gone back there and his son's there now. I think his son's there.
Yes.
Okay, so you was there, and then things happened, and now you're back on the road. You are back. What does this mean to you? This redemption mean to you now? Is it a new lease of life? Is it getting your name out there? What does it mean to you now?
So the way I see it now, I have to start from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
So when I originally got hurt, this was 2021, March of 2021.
Yeah.
I separated my shoulder, had 6 months, I had surgery, had 6 months of rehab. I came back, I did the last NXT Black and Gold brand main event against MSK.
You did.
And then a week later, I worked the PC shows to help the green guys get through. And I got my collarbone broken.
Ouch.
On the same side that I just had all the surgery. So I don't know if you can see it right now. So
you can from top there. It's back there. Yeah,
you can see all that. Right. So broke my collarbone. Then I had every single complication that can go wrong with shoulder surgery. It happened to me. So effectively, I was out of the ring for 2 years. So I got released in January. At that point in time, they made me a coach. So I was being a coach from October until I got released. I got canned, and then it was like, well, how am I supposed to make money right now? Oh, wait, I can't. Of course you would release me right now because I can't go on to do any other company. So I spent the most of 2022. I'm not going to lie. I spent the most of 2022 looking down the bottom of a bottle.
Mm.
And, things came along. And then July of 2022, I found out I needed yet another shoulder surgery.
Jesus.
So at that point in time, I was like, well, I guess my career is done. I guess I'm out. I had no idea what was going to happen. So they ended up taking a piece of my hip bone to put it in my shoulder to make sure that it could graft.
Wow.
And thank God, by December, I was completely good. It was like, yep, your shoulder's good. You're cleared. So December of 22, I got my final clearance date. And that was when the floodgates opened. I found a bench outside of the surgeon's office, and I broke down because finally it was over. More so for the fact it was that whole year, even though I wasn't under contract, I was still technically with the company because they looked after me. They paid for everything, rehab, surgeries, just, doctor's visits. I can't fault the company for that. They literally looked after me for an entire year. But it was also that point when I'm like, I just need this to be over so I can move on.
Sure. And now it has.
And December, I got cleared. And then me being me, I was like, yep, I'm good. And then I took a booking maybe 3 weeks later. I'm like, yeah, I got this. Fuck. So I got cleared December 12th. I took a booking January 13th.
Ouch.
And so, I'm still trying to find my place and, okay, I need to get back in ring shape. I need to get back in gym shape, because 2 years off, and then getting hit with depression. Yeah, fuck, I ballooned up like a fucking whale, So it was, but now I'm on like the straight and narrow. I feel great, it's all falling into place. So as much as 2022 was the worst year I've ever had, it's, here's my redemption. Like, I'm going to come back. I am going to, if I have to build up from the ground bottom again and work like I've never been known before, I have no problem with that. So
yeah. No, I mean, I mean, personally, when I heard you say the word redemption, I think you've got nothing to redeem yourself for. You've had a
no, I have.
Yeah.
I was off TV for 2 years.
Yeah.
I literally was in exile for 2 years. And yes, people do remember me. They're like, oh, fuck. Mm-mm. No, I want people to go, fuck yes, there's Martin Stone.
Yeah. And you recently done 1PW.
Yes.
How did you find that? Fee was there, so I know that she was chauffeuring some of the guys around. So
yes. You know what? So
like 10 years since we'd seen each other, just about, wasn't it?
Yeah, 10 years. Yes. The last time I saw you was ICW in Scotland, like full circle. Everything goes full circle, like crazy.
Amazing. How did that feel then, Martin? Coming out first time in a way, 4,000 fans, whatever it was there. Great reception. Great.
So in my head, and this is just me in my head, I expected to come out and get booed out the building.
Why was
booed
that?
out the building. And obviously I'm working Cara Noir, who has been a mainstay.
Yeah.
Not so much a mainstay through wrestling, but he was a mainstay throughout the pandemic.
Yeah, he was.
Which the pandemic ruined everything.
It did.
It killed everything. So in my head, I'm like, fuck. Somehow, I need to try and be on his level. But it was funny because I came out and the music was so loud, I couldn't really hear the crowd. And then it wasn't until I did my thing facing hard cam, everyone was so happy to see me. And I was like, oh, fuck. Which I didn't expect. And that kind of humbled me. I was like, fuck. Like, I don't see myself as, oh, well, you had the dark times of wrestling in the 90s, and then we had the 2000 period, but you were there in that 2000 period and you helped it grow. And then it became like the boom period. Like, I don't consider myself that. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I'm just a wrestler. I'm just a fucking wrestler. Like, well, but to get that reaction when everyone was so happy to see me back, I was like, oh, fuck. That really, I was just like, oh, shit. And then I just had so much fun, like getting the fans to throw their shoes in the ring and like put shoes on fucking Cara Noir and stamp on his feet. And, it was such an amazing experience to be able to go back home after so long. And yes, home for me is London, but to be able to go back to home that is England and do that, skies are I was just like, thank you so much.
The crowd were phenomenal that night. They were so good.
The crowd, just and I didn't expect it. I expected to get shit on and booed out the building because who the fuck am I? I've been gone for so long. So but that was a real special night for me.
Oh, good. I'm really happy. I mean, Fee, you were, as you say, you were there. The crowd were good. I mean, the event as a whole was a massive success. It was their first one PWC
Yeah, it was great
in years. Right? I think they went out.
It
And
was
did
sold out. Yeah, it was great. Sold out. It was fucking great. Yeah, the crowd were hot. You can't ask for more than that, you know.
No, and you had some great guys. We've actually got Bobby Fish on Thursday, and he was there.
Yep.
And he was
Yep.
there doing his thing. You've also, and what I was reading up on this day was you win the WWE twice, right? You were,
yeah,
and then you come back, and then you done your NXT run. Had a lot of matches with our guest tomorrow on TO 205, Kendrick. Ryan Kendrick.
So I initially started my first signing in 2012.
Yeah,
I reported for duty in 20. Yeah, I reported for duty 2012 of June 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
I got released 2 years later.
Yep.
I came home. I worked as much as I could. I then, just before, maybe 8 weeks before I got released, I met my now ex-wife. Worked that one out. Yeah. So I met my now ex-wife, and it got to a point we did long distance, and I was like, I need to see if this works. So I left the UK scene behind, and it was a fucking gamble because at that point in time, everything was booming. I remember working the Great Mooter in front of 60 people in York Hall, Bethnal Green.
Wow.
And then I come back in 2014 and work a sold out crowd at York Hall, Bethnal Green. I'm like, what the fuck happened? So this was a huge gamble. But I was like, you know what? I'm always going to say, if I didn't do this, I'm always going to say, what if?
Yeah.
So I was just like, right, let's move back there. We got married. We were great for 8 years, but then, you know, it just didn't work out. It was what it was. But in that time, I got to make a name for myself on the American independent scene. I got to make a name for myself on the European scene because, you know, I dropped like 60 pounds. I came back like fucking hell on fucking water, you know, so it was just like a completely different me, and I got to reinvent myself. And then that ultimately led me to getting re-signed. So it worked out for the best. So
it certainly did. When you was in sort of near the end of the NXT, AEW come along, 2019 AEW.
Yep.
Was there any like differences? Did you notice any differences in what management was asked? Because you were going head to head, I think, at some point.
Yeah.
We went head to head with NXT. Was there any sort of differences, locker room, backstage, management? Were they sort of looking over their shoulder a little bit at this point? Where they were like, "Wow, so something, we'll see how it goes," like blowing the water.
Okay. So on the record, we never tried to compete. NXT never tried to compete with AEW. But I will talk about a time when myself, Oni, were scheduled to work Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher.
Yep.
And we was supposed to be the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Within 30 minutes, it got changed to the opening match because AEW had a women's match on. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow. Maybe they did.
All I'm going to say.
Interesting.
We got cut from 30 minutes to 12 minutes. That's all I'm going to say.
Interesting. Fiona, what has been your sort of thing? Do you think AEW has helped independents and even England over here just because they've given another option? I was talking last week to Tony LaCarso, and he was saying because there's now so many different flavors, it helps companies going forward.
AEW is good for wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just don't need one company.
No,
you need
absolutely.
competition. You need competition. You need different flavors.
That's it. I think it's good for the fans, but the fact that the AEW wrestlers as well are not tied to AEW, so they can appear elsewhere, obviously under agreement or whatever, is great because it means they can get out and about and maybe help elevate other promotions other smaller independent promotions. So you've got guys coming over to the UK who'll do shows in the UK, or they'll go to other independents in the state. So it helps raises the level of those independents elsewhere. So I think it's brilliant that they have got that freedom to do that.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I think them doing even like a Forbidden Door thing where they, going through when they get people from Japan.
And how good was that show last year?
It's great. I can't wait for it this year. It's
yes,
gonna be amazing.
It was so good, and it's not because it's like, oh, New Japan's in America. Just the random matchups you can get.
Yeah, stuff that you've never seen before.
I'm trying for.
And again, WWE tried that when you had Liger against Tyler Breeze. Like they tried it, but then it got kiboshed. It's like if everyone works together, wrestling is going to be so much better.
It is.
So, and I always say this, it's like, okay, let's bake a cake and we can fight over the cake, or we can fight over the crumbs and no one gets anywhere.
Yeah,
exactly that. I'm certainly hoping for Jack Sabre Jr. versus Danielson. I was going to hopefully get that last year, but Danielson.
No, it's coming.
I believe. Hey, listen, they're coming to.
But if they're smart, they will tease it and not give it straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us it all in.
So,
you can't. August 27th. Yeah, give us it there,
dude. Like, I was at SummerSlam '92.
So was I. I had hair.
So did I. Well, to be fair, I'm bald by choice. So but just so if they can, and I have no doubt that they can sell that arena out. If they can do that, fuck.
They don't look like
that would be absolute. And I have no doubt they can. Everyone's like, oh, they're in. Well, just I say everybody. Twitter is like, fuck AEW. Yeah. They're lying about this. I'm like, you know what? You guys complained about WWE being the only place.
Yeah.
Now you have an alternative.
Yeah.
But now you're going to complain about that. So I'm just like, you know what? Just be a wrestling fan and just enjoy it.
Exactly.
Stop complaining about, well, my favorite wrestler's not getting pushed. Fuck it. It comes. It's so much more than he's holding him down. He doesn't. Shut the fuck. Just watch what you like.
Yeah, exactly.
Be it WWE, be it AEW, be it New Japan, be it Noah, be it Joshi Wrestling. Just watch what you enjoy and go, hey, I love wrestling.
Yeah.
Just like you, I like wrestling. Just like you, I love wrestling. Just like you are. Just watch it and enjoy it and stop being a fucking moron and saying, well, I think I could book it better and do this and that. And like, fuck.
Yeah,
like, who cares? Just watch wrestling because we're all fans. Wrestling is a universal language.
It is.
No matter what country you're in, be it fucking England, Ireland, fucking America, Japan, China, Russia, everybody will at some point fall in love with wrestling. Yeah. So let's just watch wrestling and enjoy it and love it and not compare it and go, oh, well, this guy's lying because they're saying they've sold this amount of tickets. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, God, it kills me.
It does.
And just, I have to bite my tongue because I read shit and I'm like, all right, tweet out, and I'm like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. It kills me because I'm just like, hey, we all grew up as fans.
Yeah.
So why can't we enjoy all facets of wrestling?
You should be able to. I mean, I've always been a WWE guy, but I still watch.
Yeah.
I watch AEW. I watch Impact. I've been watching NWA.
You watch everything. Yes. It's wrestling. You love wrestling.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch everything. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, well, Seth Rollins was way much better than fucking Speedball. Who fucking cares? Like, watch it and enjoy it. Speedball Bailey, amazing guy. Yeah. Seth Rollins, amazing guy. Does it mean you need to compare them? Fuck no. Just watch it and enjoy it.
Exactly. Just let me watch it. I think last time I read, there was about 70,000 sold. So they're close. And without a match being enough.
They are, no, I literally, every fibre in my being wants AEW to sell out Wembley.
So do I. I want it to.
And that's not because I'm a Brit that goes, well, I think they should fly me over so I can work the show. It's not that.
No.
I just want wrestling to succeed.
Exactly.
Because I've had a 20-year, so next month will be my 20 years in the business.
You're just about to get onto that.
For me, I just want wrestling to succeed.
Yeah.
It is the greatest live action performance entertainment art that you are going to see. If it's done correctly, you are going to get taken on a roller coaster ride. And then by the end of it, you're going to be like, fuck, I just watched Rocky Balboa overcome his obstacles. That is professional wrestling.
It is.
And I just want it to succeed.
And my son will be having that journey for his first time when he goes in June. He's going to SmackDown and Money in the Bank. He's 8. We've taken him I got him for his birthday in February. We've done like a video package.
Oh, tremendous.
He's got sensitive ears though, and I've got to say to you, you've got to take your noise cancel headphones because we're going to be near the stage.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
And I've been there, and I've been burnt by the pyro, hence the head.
Yep. So have I. Yep.
Yeah. And I always had that thing about pyro where it can sometimes, when you're not expecting it, can.
Yeah.
I've had it with Kane's pyro twice. Rare.
Yep.
It's not very good. But yeah, he's going for his first time in June and July.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm sure
he is going to be captivated.
Yeah. He will.
He is going to be absolutely captivated. And that makes me so happy because as a wrestler, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We captivate an audience. We tell stories. You have the bad guys win because they cheated. And then the crowd should be upset that that's wrestling. It's physical theater.
Yeah.
He
was cheering the heels. He was like Roman. He's like a big Roman Reigns fan. So when Roman
to be fair,
to
be fair, who can't be a fan of the bloodline? Come on.
I have to say, I've been doing this podcast normally with Andy. I've been doing it for like 6 months. And we've been saying we were always big fans. We were obviously Attitude Era growing up, and it was like Austin McMahon. It was a long term.
Yes, of course, yeah.
This
exactly
that. This bloodline thing for me has been the closest thing. And what I've liked about it, when it's got to a point where you think, oh, it's getting a bit thing, they've inserted something else in. And they inserted something else. And now it's getting to a point now where they look like they're splitting up, or is it just going to be a big thing and they're going to be all fine and bandy again?
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Go.
Was you feeling oozy?
I was I've got the Sami Zayn shirt upstairs. I've got it. And I was one of those.
So I don't watch a lot of the product, but then someone sent me a text and went, dude, you need to watch Raw. SmackDown. I was like, what? You need to watch SmackDown. And I tuned in and I saw that whole, Jay, he's sorry, but this, he just wasn't feeling oozy. I lost my shit and I became a fan again. I was like, fuck yes.
It's so
I am all in on the bloodline. All in on the bloodline.
It was funny though, because they were so like, they're trying not to break on telly. And you like Jay's like covering
it all goes out the window, yeah.
Yeah.
But it does. Like, trust me, there's been a few times when, we were filming shit and stuff like that. And, I'd be like, well, can I change this line to this? A lot? All right, cool. And I'd say my line, and then everyone's just like, but that's how it should be. It's like, okay, let's make this as entertaining as we can, because when the fans see people break, it brings them in more. And that's exactly what happened. And that's why it was again, they're not gonna recreate that moment of, I think the blood so the thing with Sammy and the Bloodline was maybe 6 months.
Around about that time, 6 months.
They're not going to replicate that.
No,
because you can't write that in a script and go, we need you to laugh, you need to break,
it needs to be
need
authentic.
you to react. It's organic. Like, wrestling needs to be organic, and that's my only thing that I don't like about wrestling right now. It's nothing's organic, and that's why the bloodline works so well, because that whole shtick, for my opinion, again, I could be wrong. I don't know what was written backstage or whatever. For me, that was so organic, and that brought everyone in. And that's why everyone was so invested in the tag team main event of Mania this year.
Yeah.
Of Sammy and Kevin finally overcoming the odds and winning the tag team titles. You know, I haven't watched Mania. I haven't watched a pay-per-view in a long time. This year's WrestleMania, I watched the whole thing, both nights, back to back.
It was brilliant.
So,
it was one of the better ones they've done in many, many years in terms of storytelling and like, you know, you have things that meant something, and that's the thing. Sometimes you can have you can have a dream match, but it gets thrown in within 2 weeks. You're like, what's the story?
Yeah.
And if it's got a story behind it, you can get invested and it makes it that much more enjoyable because you're watching that story and they're telling it as well.
You spent so long with it, so long watching it, so long watching the build and getting invested and getting behind the guys that when it comes to that kind of pinnacle, you're just like hanging on everything that happens in front of you.
Yeah, I certainly was. I was doing that through the Roman Cody as well. I was like, is it going to happen? Is it? Nope.
So, what was your opinion on the finish?
I didn't like the fact that Solo had to come back and be involved again. I haven't got a problem with Roman winning it. I think they're going the long game. That's I think Cody and Roman main events next year if Rock can't do it. That's my thing.
So it's pro wrestling.
It is.
The story never finishes.
Well, that's exactly why Cody didn't win, right? The story never ends.
But here's the thing. Cody was out for how long after his torn pec?
He wrestled Seth, was it 2 pay-per-views after WrestleMania? So it would have been a June-ish.
So he was out for a good
6 months.
3-4 months?
6.
If he would have come back and won, everybody would have turned Cody heel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Everybody would have turned Cody heel. So when everyone's like, well, no, Cody should have won, and what the fuck? No.
No.
It took Rocky 1 match to win, but then realistically in film time, it was a couple of years before he got his rematch because Apollo was like, fuck you, you can't beat me. You can't beat me. Certainly. So when everyone was like, that was the wrong call, I'm like, no, it was the right call. Because now Cody is, he beat Brock at the Backlash. I can only assume, and this is just my wrestling brain ticking away, I can only assume Brock is going to cost Cody the championship run he goes for the title.
No, he cost him last night. It was in the.
I haven't watched it.
Okay. Sorry.
Right.
Spoiler.
No. Just I don't watch. No, I don't watch it. But in my wrestling brain, I'm like, it makes sense for Brock to cost Cody that shot at the title at the new championship.
Yeah.
They go into something. Finally, Cody gets his redemption.
Yeah, that was kind of so. They had the 2 triple threat matches last night, and he stopped Cody from winning the first match because they were doing 2 triple threats.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
So he stopped him, F5'd him through the table. Literally, he was like, had this big black eye, this cut on his head, and he was like, look at my face. And then he was basically offered Cody to a fight in Saudi Arabia. And later on, Cody
they will now have a street fight.
Or some
I can only assume, I would hope Cody gets his redemption and it makes Cody whole again. And then now Cody goes on to whatever championship he wants to go to.
He wins.
For me personally, he needs to go to Roman.
Makes sense for him then either to do 2 things, either to win Money in the Bank in June and then you get to choose I gather you still get to choose the champion. I don't know. I mean, this is
but winning Money in the Bank is winning for me, winning the money in the bank is cliche. It's like, oh, I'm gonna Cody just needs to, for me as a fan, I want to see Cody beat Brock, and then I want to see Cody dig deep and run through everyone and earn his spot and not just get a briefcase to go, oh, I'm going to cash in after the champion has had a match and do that. So
I was thinking a bit more like he wins it at Money in the Bank and then announces we're not going to come out and do a run-in at the end. He says, I want this match on this day at this time. You can
that's
for it.
Okay. That's what I would hope. That's exactly what I would hope. He cashes in on that night. He wins the title. The story is finished.
Exactly.
And then it starts again because now he has a target on his back.
Yeah.
It'll be
So
interesting to see if he's a better chaser than he is champion. Because you do get ones like that.
Cody's going to be a great champion.
Yeah, he will be.
Cody is going to be a great champion. This is a guy that literally betted on himself and went, I don't want to do Stardust anymore.
No.
Well, that's all we've got. Okay. And this is a guy that left a guaranteed paycheck,
Yep.
a guaranteed comfortable life, and went and bet on himself.
Yeah.
So Cody, for my liking, Cody's the fucking man.
Yeah, he took a chance.
To have the balls to go, you know what? You are the big blue monster and you are going to run through everyone. But I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and this, and this. Oh, fuck. I can make my own company. And it becomes successful. And now we have AEW.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Cody, there would not be an alternative. So in my books, again, wrestling is subjective. My opinion might not be right, but it might not be wrong. Cody is the fucking man.
Yeah, he is. I mean, and he don't. I think he don't. The thing he done in AEW was like he didn't want to win the title, did he? That was the whole thing. I think that was the whole kind of thing. He didn't want it. That was like I own the thing. Like I'm an EVP, so that's why he lost that match thing to MJF. So he couldn't. He couldn't go for the title. He won the TNT title a couple of times, but he didn't win the world. That was the stipulation, wasn't it? But I'm sure he will make a good champion eventually.
100% he will. I've just realised I've waffled on for so much about whatever. So if you actually have questions, please ask me. I've literally waffled on about shit. So.
No, listen, I like that because I like to get and understand about that sort of thing. It makes it if I'm talking rubbish, and half the time, luckily enough, it's been okay.
No, you're not. You're good. So
that's all right. That's good. But you did touch on your 20 years in the business. Hey, congratulations.
That's awesome.
That's a massive thing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What's the biggest thing you're taking away from that 20 years? If you could say, God forbid, you've already mentioned your career nearly did end before the 20 years. But it's not. We're thankful you're coming back and you're wrestling. What is the biggest thing you're taking away from this at the end of it?
For me personally, I need to leave the business better than when I found it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I'm doing shows, I'm doing seminars, and each show I do, I'm like, hey, book a wrestling seminar, and I can try and impart what I've learned over 20 years, so that the next generation, they might only keep one or two things in their head, but then they're gonna go, oh fuck, well, Martin Stone said this, so hopefully that will trickle down. My whole goal is to leave the business better than when I came in, because when I came in, no one wanted to help us. It was just, get on with it. I'm not gonna, when I broke in, like nobody wanted to help me and get me better.
No, and I think I was.
And I hate that for this generation because, if I'm on a show and someone comes up to me and says, hey, can you watch a match? Fuck yeah, I'm going to watch that match. And I know what they do good because I'm going to hear the crowd, but then I'm like, change this, change that, put this in there, maybe try this there. And again, it might not work, but throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And chances are what I preach and what I talk about is going to stick.
Yeah.
Just so the business has gone so far, like right field of ding, 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 run, drop kick, outside, dive, back in, big fucking, off the top rope, something spectacular, cover, kick out. The other guy ends up getting shit canned. He hits the dive. He comes in. He does. So I'm like, that's all, that is all fucking good. But how about we break it down and we make everyone believe what we're doing first on solid basics, and then we go into that. You are going to get the crowd more invested.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, if I was doing card tricks as a magician, this is this, this is this, this is this. Okay, cool. Well, oh wow, yay. Well, this is how I did it. No one wants to know what the trick is to do it. So how about, yes, the crowd knows what we do is entertainment.
Yeah.
They know what we do is male soap opera, it's theatrical, whatever. But it doesn't mean we have to insult their intelligence and let them know, yeah, what we do is tricks.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that. So how about we rein it in and we make it more believable before we get to the good stuff?
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, and you know, I've heard so many guys say, "Oh, I'm a fan of Liger. I'm a fan of Tiger Mask." I'm like, those guys did not even think about a dive until like 4 or 5 years in.
Yeah.
Then they started incorporating the stuff from Mexico. Then they started incorporating character. Then they became Liger and Tiger Mask. It took them a long time to get there, rather than, yep, ding ding, off we go. I'm gonna do the, you know, that's my only gripe with the business right now. And I don't want to seem like the bitter vet that, well, I can't do that, so fuck those guys and stop slapping your leg. It's not about that. It's not about that at all. I just want professional wrestling to be whole coming forward. So if I can impart my wisdom, then I am a happy man.
Exactly that. I'm going to take you back. I was at, I think, one of your first ever shows, 2003, Croydon, All-Star Wrestling, Leroy King.
Wow.
That's
Two little baby faces.
yeah, I was there. I had no hair again. I wasn't there.
So that was my
one of your,
let's work out, 2003.
Yeah.
That was my third match.
Third match in. Yeah.
Third match in. And I bet it was the drizzling fucking shits.
I
bet it was fucking terrible.
I just recall it. But can you tell the guys, we're going to wrap up the live bit. We can talk off air, but we're going to wrap up live bit because we've got YouTube constraints. Can you just tell the guys your appearances, what you got coming up, what you're doing? Where can I get you? Where can they hold it?
So I work for a company in Florida called CCW, which now have just secured a TV show, and they are bringing back Championship Wrestling from Florida, which was the original 80s run of the last territory, which is their whole thing. They run from Miami all the way down, like they run from the north to the south of Florida, everywhere in between. There's like 9 shows a month. Their first set of TV tapings are the 27th and the 28th of May. And I'm very privileged and lucky to be a part of that. So I'm there. I am floating about between every which way but loose in the States. But if you want to keep a tabs on what I'm doing, go on Twitter at StrongStyleBrit. Go on Instagram at StrongStyleBrit, same handle. And just, right now I'm in the process of getting back in ring shape, getting back in gym shape, getting back to how I was before I got pulled off TV and got injured, and just, being able to make a good account of myself. And, if this is my last run, I'm going to make the most of it. I have no idea. So I'm just going to make the most of it, and I will see what happens.
Yeah, time to go balls to the wall, as they say over here now in the UK.
Yes. Gonna put it in the fucking back of the net and go balls to the wall, and we'll see where I land. Yeah.
Exactly. Fee, what's your latest? What are you doing?
I have another weekend off, the second weekend.
Yes. Weekend off. Oh, boo.
But I'm actually quite glad. I've been super busy lately, so I've got a weekend off. But the following weekend on Friday,
sit around and drink tea.
What was that?
Sit around and drink tea.
I said you're going to sit around and drink tea because I'm jealous, because I've not had a good proper cup of tea in 10 years, so I'm very jealous.
No, next weekend I'm back at it. So on Friday the 19th of May, Premier British Wrestling are going on a road trip out to Campbelltown, which is a good check.
Oh, excellent. Good.
So we've got a show in Campbell.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to that. We were there last year and I had COVID and wasn't allowed to travel and do it, so I missed it last year. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I worked quite a few times for PBW, so yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. That's good.
So, and then on the Saturday, on the 20th, Pro Wrestling Scotland have another show back in New Mains, so I'm back with them. That's TJ Rage's promotion, so I'm there. And then let me see, I think I've got hopefully be down in 1PW the beginning of June, and I've got Main Event Entertainment in June, and I've got some gala days and stuff coming up over the next couple of months. So yeah,
coming to my show, right?
Yeah, on the 23rd of July.
Plug it.
Plug, yeah.
I'll buckle up, yeah, my show that I'm putting on. It's not my show. I'm not taking all the credit here.
Isn't it?
The Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, paid for the show for Ignite Pro Wrestling. We're putting on a show there. We've just announced Michael Aku as one of the guys coming in. He's just racing took on Jericho. So we're really looking forward to that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up online now so I can get this on. We get this on YouTube. We'll talk off air quickly. Martin, thank you so much for giving us some of your.
Mate, thank you so much for having me on. Just
it's been.
I'm just a traveling wrestler, so the fact that you wanted to bring me on, I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure. Fiona, it's always lovely to see you.
Thanks
and we will be
always lovely.
Yes. I'm back. Well, me and Andy are back tomorrow with Brian Kendrick. We've got Bobby Fish and Zach Zodiac on Thursday. And then we have a couple of days off.
Nice.
Yes, we do. We can't wait. So, guys, I'm wrapping up the show live now. This has been Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. He has been Martin Stone. She has been Fiona Lockrin. And, guys, please stay safe and we'll see you all soon. Goodbye.